How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And boy, didn't think that I was gonna leave out this news, did you? I mean, we've got Reforge making such a stupid claim, and you thought I was gonna let it go? Oh no. But we do need a bit of back context for this, right? So we've got a little bit of back context and a bit of forward context as to why these ponies are so desperate for Xbox games. Because there's a good reason. Because as we can see here, Stalker 2 is releasing September the 5th on Xbox ecosystem, Game Pass, and PC. Now, the news that this was going to be a timed exclusive was always on the cards, but considering how much Microsoft has funded this game, the developers have come out openly and said this game will indefinitely be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, be it Game Pass, Xbox, and PC. Stalker 2, Heart of the Chernobyl, September 5th, 2024. Now, I'll be buying this day one, obviously, because I want to, support their hard work. I'll also be playing it on Game Pass as well, so they can get more funding that way, because that is how it works. But of course, this all leads on to this. And of course, as you can see here, Reforge Gaming caught lying that he has info Starfield is coming to PlayStation from his sources. And I think it's easy for everyone to say that they have actually met, Reforge's, sources. Yeah, there's his sources right there. But this is low even for Reforge Gaming, for shame. And so he gets absolutely obliterated. Now, before anyone comes out to me and says the dude that was, making comments about him has been fired, that was for making totally inappropriate comments about Reforge's past, which I'm not going to get into. But what he says here stands correct. He just decided to go overboard. But today we're talking about Starfield coming to PS5. This should be good, because now, apparently, if you listen to what he says, which I'm not going to play here, if you listen to what he says, Starfield is actually a good game. Starfield is no longer trash. Starfield is actually a fun game. It's no longer boring. All of these statements have now turned around because it's now potentially coming to PS5. Didn't we say originally that the reason why these people, these fake fans, are bashing this game is because it's not on their beloved plastic? We said this all along, and it's come full circle, and it is so true. You can't make this up. So you got Games Inquirer here saying it's not coming to PS5. I'm hearing differently. We'll see. And he's hearing it from his sources within his head. And so then we've got this one over here. You've not spoken to anyone. Execs didn't know who you were till I told them your name. So Reforge says, okay, never claimed I spoke to someone at the company. You don't seem to understand how this works. Thinking he's the only one with a business acumen or, with contacts or that actually knows how the industry works. Like, the level of hubris on this guy is, it's the ego on him is pretty strong. I had two different sources claim something to me. He had a devil on his left and a devil on his right. Those sources could be lying or misinformed. That doesn't make me a liar. It actually does make you a liar if you are reporting on false information without doing your due diligence to find out if there is any truth to the matter. If you're going on false information and fake information without actually turning around and saying that this could actually be incorrect or misleading, or the fact that the information I have is not credible, at the end of the day, you are part of the problem. In fact, he went as far as saying that these people are super credible and super reliable and that they haven't been wrong up until now. Therefore, he is actually corroborating their statement. Therefore, if it's not coming, he is a liar. There is no two ways about this. He is a clown. He is a liar. He is trying to deflect this, and he has tried that in the streams as well, from what I've seen. He is a liar. I've never claimed to have contacts at the company. If they're not sources at a company or have any knowledge of the game's development or future plans, which they evidently do not, then you're just spreading misinformation. That's just your opinion. Constantly claiming I'm a liar just because of text you got is misinformation and false. We aren't claiming and it's not our opinion. An actual source at Bethesda has said you're lying, spreading something as fact when you have no evidence to back it up and no legitimate sources is you spreading misinformation. Of course, every PlayStation fan right now wants all the Xbox games because, quite frankly, the lineup of PlayStation games is pretty dire, it's pretty weak, and the fact that they're begging on their hands and knees in their stables going, I want those games, please. Well, you got Reforge here saying, you don't seem to understand how this industry works, which is sort of embarrassing for an alleged news site. I mean, he's apparently supposed to be the professional here who has sources where they're coming from his brain. I reported what sources told me as fact. He reported them as fact, right? Because that's what he said in his stream. He reported them because they haven't got anything wrong as of now. They are super reliable. So to me, that is as fact. Your sources say different. Feel free to report that and feel free to cite your sources. Your source claims I'm lying. I mean, his sources are Bethesda and he's saying Bethesda is you're lying. So that's a big statement. And he's actually using Bethesda's name, ZeniMax's name here. Of course, then the conversation continues. What Phil Spencer said a year ago is completely irrelevant. We've already had contact with ZeniMax, and Dave said he's lying. He has no contacts at Bethesda and is too small a creator to have any insider knowledge. Oh shit. Too small a creator to have any insider knowledge. Interesting theory that doesn't have legs given how many complete unknown people have contacts and info and end up leaking things. I mean, the first point here is that even if he did have a source, which he doesn't, but even if he did have a source, those people probably told him this in confidence, and he went and betrayed their confidence and immediately put it into social media. I mean, you have to be a special kind of dick to be able to do that, right? And no one from ZeniMax can claim I'm lying. I reported on what I've heard. The voices in my head said so. So, of course, we come back here. Incorrect. Seeing as we have text from a director at ZeniMax calling you a liar. How am I lying, though? They know who I've spoken to? And so this continues back and forth, but it actually gets worse. So we've got this. Alex comes out. I just woke up to a dead body. I mean, when you've got Paul Tassi joining in on the fun, damn, who is this Reforge Gaming I see constantly getting destroyed on the timeline? Bro got cooked. It's like, you don't seem to understand how this industry works. Basically that statement. And he goes, we are owned by a studio with clients across the industry, but you're a YouTuber that is only interested in speaking to those who give you money. Otherwise, their opinion doesn't matter. Remember that whole, if they don't give me a sub, if they don't give me a membership, they don't matter. They don't matter. None of them matter. They're just garbage waste. Why they're still there, I don't know. And new console war for clicks. I mean, yeah, he's a pony. He's going to defend Sony until the day he dies. That's his holy grail. You have no sources, at least not at Bethesda. And we don't report on misinformed claims from YouTube accounts. It's not news and you're not newsworthy. I wonder why he had to Reforge. So the big question comes now, why are Sony fans so aggrieved that they need Xbox games? I mean, they've just got The Last of Us Remastered coming out, right, on the 18th. So why are they so hell-bent on getting Xbox games? What is it about the Xbox games that they just can't live without? Clearly from trashing Starfield, now they love Starfield. What J-Dub is trying to say here is what Tim Stewart said in a investors meeting, and that already got overruled and denied by the CEO, Phil Spencer. So all of this is because they just cannot. I mean, J-Dub got completely bodied here. Reforge is getting bodied here. He's trying to turn this into a positive by trying to shrug it off. But my dude is a true clown. But we finally found out why they are so desperate for those Xbox games. And, you know, it actually makes sense. It does. It really does. Because it's now clear why they're so desperate. PlayStation is really out here trying to see how far they can go with these suckers. Because right now, they are true suckers. Because this is why they have decided, I'll give it a like as well. This is why they have decided that they really need those Xbox games because it ain't happening. Whatever Naughty Dog is doing, whatever prestige they had, has quickly diminished, especially after the colossal failure of the PC port of The Last of Us 1, and now this, and the loss of factions. I can understand why they're so desperate for Xbox games, but just listen to this.
PS4 version was updated with support for PS5 hardware, enabling PS5s to run the game at 1440p at 60 frames per second. This new remastered PS5 release seems to promise more, so what's up with the rendering here? The basic visual setup is very familiar, at least by default. We're getting a 1440p 60 experience in the default performance mode, just like the earlier patched code. There's no signs of DRS or upsampling here as far as I can tell. Side-by-sides suggest that the two versions are a match in terms of basic image quality, with a similar, slightly soft resolve. If you look closely, you can spot some aliasing here and there, but for the most part the two releases seem perfectly fine, especially when seen from a typical TV viewing distance.
I beg your pardon?
Ellie looks identical across the two versions. Overall, these two releases of The Last of Us Part 2 look fairly similar. Naughty Dog has definitely tweaked and touched up some aspects of the game's visual presentation here and there, but players shouldn't go in expecting a broad visual uplift relative to the patched PS4 code that we've had for the past 2.5 years.
Ooh. Come on, my nigga. You supposed to be nicer than this. Like,
the biggest upgrade here over playing the game on a PS4 or PS4 Pro system is still the ability to play at 60 frames per second, which the remastered version and the patched version of the original both offer on PS5 systems.
So basically, as you can see here, they got sold a glorified patch for $70. Now I know there is a $10 upgrade fee for this, for those that don't have it. And there is literally no reason for this to exist, right? Absolutely none. There is none. There is literally no reason for this to exist. They could have just left the remaster version as it is, because they basically got the patch that they did for the PS4 version, or they got the remastered version, essentially, and said, right, we're just going to put that onto, we're just going to put it on PlayStation 5. Let's go. Let's go, buddy. And then ship it off. But it doesn't end there, does it? It doesn't end there. Because, you know, their need for Xbox games, like they've been begging now for Starfield, they've been begging for Halo, they've been begging for Gears. It doesn't end there. It ends here. Tilu Remastered has been called no remaster, and people are calling out Naughty Dog for making no graphical updates and being riddled with bugs. We've gotten used to PlayStation Studios releasing games too early, and now they've been put on notice. And as you can see here from Inverse, ultimately, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is functionally the same game. With a few new features and some developer commentary, it feels like an attempt to capitalize on the success of the HBO series to entice a new audience to jump in. That is exactly what it is, and that was Jim Ryan's aim. 4 out of 10. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is not a remaster at all. At best, it has some new features that should have been free. No return roguelike game mode is lackluster, and there is no point in playing it. Tulu Combat was complementing the story, and it did so very well, unlike no return roguelike game mode. IGN Spain, The Last of Us Part 2 wants to follow in the footsteps of the first installment, but it doesn't get off to a good start. The new version is riddled with bugs and only climbs a few steps thanks to the exciting no return mode, which makes the remaster a half tribute. So as you can see, it's a pretty disappointing outing, and this over here outlines exactly why they are now begging for games like Starfield. It's clear why it's, Reforge is claiming for these, because he's clearly seen what's happening with the PlayStation games, and they have no games. They're just getting re-released versions of the games that they had from yesteryear, and my dude decided that today was the day he wanted to get bodied, grand slammed, leg dropped, drop kicked, clotheslined, and tombstoned all at the same time. All at the same time. It's so bad that Hulk Hogan decided to come out of retirement, come back just to give him his signature leg drop and finish him off once and for all. My dude got bodied. And when you got Paul Tassi coming out and talking about that shit, my God, that's when you know that you got wiped out. But you know what? I reckon, right? I reckon Reforge has another one in him. He's gonna come up with something special before too long. I reckon he's got another one in him. This ain't the last time we've seen these videos. He's got another one in him. I'm sure of it. Because he's sitting there now thinking, how can I one up myself? And we'll be there waiting. But as you can see, this is the reason why they're begging and they're hoping games like Starfield, which for many is the game of the generation, for many it was their game of the year, for many it was just a game that they got lost in to explore around endless planets. This is the reason why he wants it now. And this is the reason why he's changed his tune from this game being utterly trash to now being actually good, because the voices in his head have told him it's coming to PlayStation 5. Now, where can I find those voices in my head? Oh, I also had a breaking news as well. And there is my breaking news. My sources claim God of War Ragnarok, and Returnal are all coming to Xbox. And unlike them, who can't cite their sources, I do. Trust me, bro. Remain legend.